So Adepticon was really cool, and I just wanted to give a quick recap for everything that was covered there. This will be heavily 40k focused because obviously the new edition has now been announced. I've got some details on that, but I want to quickly run through everything that was announced at the show. So start with the new Lionel Johnson model, which goes with the Arcs of Omen book, The Lion. Clearly an amazing model with his own book coming out. You can see this is the new kit. Looks very special indeed. Absolutely beautiful. Then we move on to the Horus Heresy, the Siege of Chthoniya. So Chthoniya is the first of the new black books. This is kind of a scenario book. It's got lots and lots of missions and that kind of thing in there. Horus Heresy fans of old will remember the old black books. This is the first one since the Age of Darkness box was released, and it is the first of many it appears to be. Then we're on to Age of Sigmar. So we've got Seraphon, a few units for that. So we've got the Agradon Lancers. This is a Scarred Veteran on Agradon. But yet these new models look absolutely terrific, as does everything new for the Seraphon, to be fair. We've got a new line of Kroxigor as well. So there's one box, but it makes up two different model sets. So we've got the standard Kroxigors and the Kroxigor Warspawn. All of this is available in the same box. So this is the kind of new range in its entirety fleshed out in this image here. And obviously that means they're getting a new Seraphon battle tome. Obviously a new launch box as well for the army. So this isn't going to include the things that were announced today. So the things that were announced in the last month or so will be in here, but not the newer stuff announced today. Staying in the Mortal Realms, we've got a new model for Ossiarch Bone Reapers and for the Soulblight Gravelords. So Ivia Volga, the Soulblight, who also have a new battle tome coming up, and we'll talk about battle tomes in a minute further. And then we've got this new model as well for the Ossiarch Bone Reapers with their new battle tome. Moving on, we have Cities of Sigmar. I've got some new Battle Lion models coming out soon, and obviously they will also have a battle tome as well coming up. So here's a kind of a preview of all the battle tomes we've got coming. So Blades of Khorne and Head Knights of Slaanesh we already know about. They're coming out imminently. Ossiarchs and Gravelords announced today. And then in the summer we've got a yet to be named book coming out with the Seraphon as well. And then in the autumn, we've got another yet to be named book coming out along with the Cities of Sigmar. Moving on to Kill Team, we've got Gallowfall. So we've got our new forces here. That will basically be the Beastmen and some of the Leagues of Votann models. Very, very cool looking stuff indeed. So we've got the Hearthkin Salvagers, which is basically the Hearthkin sprue with an upgrade sprue as well to make our kind of specialists in Kill Team. And then we've got the Felgor Ravagers, which I believe will be a kit with an upgrade sprue, which will be released at some point in the future as well. Now the Gallowfall is basically that Gallow Dark is crashing into a planet. So as a result, this is the kind of final box, the kind of escape. So we've got some escape pods, some stasis pods, and some med bay stuff and that kind of thing to go with it as well. Looks like a fair amount of terrain on that kind of special sprue that goes with it. It appears to be more than we've had in previous kits, but very much look forward to that. Warhammer Underworlds Wyrdhollow is coming up next as well. So that's a new season for Underworlds. So it basically has got Ephelim's Pandemonium. That is a new Slaanesh kit or warband. And we've got Domitan's Stormcoven, a magic-based Stormcast Eternal. In fact, they are both magic-based forces. So obviously those two come with their own rivals decks. There'll be 2 more in that box as well, the Toxic Terrors and the Seismic Shock. And then we're on to the big one, Warhammer 40k. So there was a great big long new cinematic trailer released. So definitely go and check that out. It is basically Space Marines and Tyranids. But yeah, very, very special cinematic trailer. Go and have a look at that. So basically, new models wise, we didn't get a lot. Didn't get all of the new ones that are going to be released in the launch box or anything like that. But basically, we got the new Terminators, and they were announced that they would not be a Primaris kit. So basically, if you are, if you're deemed to be good enough, you'll be given the Terminator armor. So that means that they are not a Primaris only model or kit. But anyone can use them. But those look cool. Obviously, there is a little bit of scale creep on that as well. As much as they're saying that they're not an Astartes kit, they need to be able to kind of open up size-wise to stand up to an Astartes. So this is basically how the range looks now with that increase in size. We get new Termagants, which I didn't think looked particularly different from the last ones. However, you can see there's a side-by-side with the old ones and the new ones. And yeah, there's definitely a huge upgrade there. But yeah, very, very cool looking indeed. Okay, then they started talking about the rules and what's changing in new 40k. So this is going to be the 10th edition. So they touched on various things like the fact that the Psycho phase is not going to appear in its own phase anymore. It's going to be basically intrinsically linked to that model and that ability, kind of where it appears. So they gave a example of Smite, which is basically a shooting attack, will now appear in the shooting phase. Anything associated with movement will just go into the movement phase, and so on and so forth. They also went on to say that all of the data cards and all the information for each individual model will be available for free, but you'll be able to buy the data cards as well, much the same way as you can get the War Scroll cards for Age of Sigmar. They will be released for 40k, but these will all be released for free on the launch of 10th edition. They also went through things like the Combat Patrol boxes. So Combat Patrol in 40k nowadays works very differently to the way it will do. So basically those Combat Patrol boxes will basically be, if you want to play Combat Patrol, you're going to need to stick to the units in those Combat Patrol boxes and not just pick a list from the wider range, which I think is, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. I like the idea for new people coming in that they're just going to be able to get that box and play Combat Patrol, but I fear for people who have their own Combat Patrol lists and that kind of thing and enjoy playing them. They went on things like the morale phase and that kind of thing that they're going to change, less likely to lose models and that kind of stuff. But how dependable they will be will change as well. You'll also see from these cards, there's a new kind of limit on here. That's the one at the end. It says the OC2. That is basically for objective control. So each model will have its own objective control limit, and basically that means that whereas previously it might be one model for one model will determine the control of an objective, that will change now. That might now be that you'll collect up the points associated with the objective control, and that will determine who controls it or not, which I think is a really good change. Boarding actions will all work on the new edition. No change there. We've been through Combat Patrol as well. And that was it. So that was the preview in its entirety. Obviously, go back and have a look for the more in-depth stuff and that kind of thing. But yeah, very, very exciting night. Lots and lots of interesting things. I'm going to head back to bed now. It's been a late night for me watching all of this. But yeah, I'll be flowing with the content again as of tomorrow. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.